What's going on, guys? It's Kai, and it has been a great past 2 or 3 weeks of Guilty Gear Strive. I'm still absolutely in love with this game, but it is about that time where people who are going to play something else are going to play something else, and the people who are going to stick around are going to stick around. And if you've taken anyone's advice going into Strive, you know, just stick with one character. As we've come to discover, these characters are very deep, and there's a lot going on underneath the surface. We're almost a month in, and that is becoming more and more evident every day. It's kind of crazy, but it is time where you start branching out and playing different characters, and you may have compiled a number of misconceptions about what these characters are trying to do or how particularly strong they are, and we're going to go over just basically what each character is trying to do in the game, their strength, their weaknesses, and just how cool they are. Man, these characters are fucking great. So yeah, let's get right into it. Which Guilty Gear character is for you? Alright, so before we get into any character in particular, I did want to throw one misconception out of the window right out of the gate, and that's X character does not do damage. That is absolutely not the case at all. All these characters are designed to hurt. This is by design. Arxis has said this on multiple accounts. This is a high damage game. It's simply a matter of what condition needs to be met in order for me to get to that damage, and everyone definitely has a solid game plan, which I'll go over. But if you're one of those people that thinks like, I don't know, Potemkin doesn't do damage, let's say you think that for whatever reason, I have combo videos on everyone up on the channel. I'll link it up above so you can see for yourself, but I did want to throw that out of the window immediately. Now, another thing I want to talk about was the star system. A lot of people may think if you're playing Kai here, you may hit a cap in terms of like what you're able to do in the game, in terms of nuttiness and just, you know, whatever ridiculous setups we may come up with in the future. Like Kai can't do it, right? He has too many stars. He can't do it. He's not Zato. Right? He's not Zato. He can't be super gross. No, that's not the case at all. Everyone's actually disgusting, and as my understanding has evolved, Kai actually can do some pretty gross stuff. You just have to understand the character, understand some of the system mechanics too. Shout outs to SKD. He's doing a great job, pretty much pushing this character to the max, always pushing the limit. But yeah, don't think for a second these stars have anything to do with anything in that regard. It's just a matter of like, is this character pick up and play? And I know people have said that, but I also wanted to get that other misconception of if I play Kai, I can't do dirty stuff like Zato or Giovanna or Ino. And that's just not the case. These characters are what you make them, and that's what I love so much about the game. But enough talking about that stuff. Let's start with Nago. I bet no one's ever started with Nago. Let's start with Nago. Alright, so first up we got Nagoriyuki making his debut in Guilty Gear Strive. So when you play this character, don't think you have to do what was done before, because this is his first time in a Guilty Gear game, and as such, I always say you need to experiment as much as you can with this character, because at the end of the day, it seems that no matter what you do, you cannot escape the fact that this is a high risk, high reward character by design. And what I mean is, if you didn't already know, he has to manage his blood gauge down here with his special moves, and you'll see it'll go up as I do my special moves here, and you can get it to go down, right? And so what ends up happening is that a lot of people end up forgetting that the reason why this penalty is in place is because he has a strength, right? It's to stop him from being fantastic. So I see a lot of people, you know, they do one or two buttons like this, and then they like freak out, right? And you see the gauge go up, and they just start, you know, they play with their normals to get to go back down, and that's fine and dandy. But I think this character has a lot of different ways to be interpreted. Actually, I would actually recommend taking it a step further and consciously try to get this bar filled up. Not think of it as something you're trying to avoid. Think of it as an opportunity that you haven't taken yet. You need to be assertive when you play this character. You cannot escape the fact that you do have to take risks, but this is exactly where the character shines once you finally get over that mental hurdle of, I don't want the bar to go up. Once you realize you want the bar to go up, because it probably means you're doing what you're supposed to do, he becomes a very scary character, and let me demonstrate. So first off, he has really good mix, and I know this sounds kind of weird because a lot of his moves can be blocked mid. You see Kai here is just stand blocking, not too much to be afraid of there. He does have this low here, and he does have the sweep like so. But what's actually going on? Why is he so scary? Why are people like, yo, why this Nago keeps beating my ass, and why are some people like saying Nago's terrible? Well, I can tell you why people are thinking Nago's terrible. It's probably because they're getting their blood gauge up very high, but they aren't actually doing anything with that opportunity. And I can tell you why the people who think he's really good is they're playing Nagoriyuki who understand, hey, I can cancel special moves into special moves. that means, right, I need to be taking advantage of the limitless possibility that I have at my disposal, right? He can do just, this is some basic stuff, but what makes him really strong, and this is the secret good move, they don't want to tell you about this move here. It doesn't seem like much, but when he sends out this clone, that clone doesn't have a hurt box. You actually cannot stop this thing. You have to get out of the way. Or you have to hit Nago. I think that'll make it. No, even then it doesn't matter. So you have to get out of the way of this move. And this is going to force the opponent to either reposition or they're going to have to guess. This move is incredibly plus on block. Obviously more so once we couple it with the teleport, right? And we're able to get there the same time the clone gets there. And what this is going to do immediately, this is going to immediately make the opponent have to guess. Is he going to go for his command grab? Which then allows him to just go ham for like 3 seconds. Right? This sequencer should normally make my blood gauge fill all the way up, but I know it doesn't. Look at that, right? He gets to go ham if he gets the bite off. Contrast, on the contrast though, if you know that he's gonna bite, right, you're gonna try to jump out of the way naturally, right? He has all these great buttons to stop you from doing that, right? So let's say he's on top of you. Let's say he does something like this, right? Close slash, ready to go. Absolutely annihilate tilt bars. Already got combo video demonstrating that, right? He could also go, he could also read that you're gonna jump, right? Air grabs you, right? So what Nago's trying to do essentially is get in and make you guess, right? And there's no in between. There's no I'm gonna like try to piece you up, you know, like not play like Kai where he's trying to create an opening through a series of you know, conditions and movements and orientations and rotating through his option set to open it. He's like, no, you guess now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guess now. Are you gonna jump? Okay, you're gonna jump. Here comes the clone. Guess now. You didn't want to guess? I'm in your face. You let me get this grab off? You're guessing again. Oh, you didn't want to guess? Get grabbed. Now I get to go even crazy. Okay, high risk, high risk, high risk, high risk, high risk. And this is just what he is about. And it's on the Nagoriyuki player to understand when the moment to go off is and to create that moment. But once you understand this blood gauge at the bottom is not seen as like a thing you're trying to avoid. It's like, damn, I didn't go off enough, you know? That's one way to interpret the character. There's a bunch of different ways to interpret him. He is brand new to this game, but what you want to do with Nagoriyuki is understand you are a high risk, high reward character. You're not going to get anything done, you know, doing one special move at a time. Don't do this. Play him to his fullest potential, make them guess, educate yourself on what their options are, and understand Nago has something for pretty much every spot. Okay, he has counterplay available, and they have counterplay, and he has counterplay to that counterplay. But that's Nagoriyuki. You use your special moves, you create those openings, and you enforce the fact that you can create plus frames that are damn near unstoppable by doing this. You have to guess now. All right, that's Nago. Oh man, it's time for the boy who needs no introduction. Soul Bad Guy. All right, so you know. We all know, and if you don't know, let me show you, you know. You know, first of all, this guy hurts, and he hurts easily. This guy's got a ton of damage. Just doing that basic combo is all you really need to know. Of course, I got a combo video for him too, like everybody else, but he does damage. That goes without saying. Now, what is his particular goal though? Why is he so strong? Let's talk about what he's able to do before we get to the particular strength of the character. What he's able to do, unlike anyone else in the game, is just get in. This move here, Not Ready Vortex, goes super low. No one's going to hit you while you're down there unless they know it's coming. You're going under anything. They whiff anything, you're in. Okay? And if that gets counter hit, whew, that's all I got to say about that. But if you don't want to go low, you can also go high. And if you don't want to go high or low, you can just plow right through a good old Fafnir here. That's plus, I think, plus 10 or more on block. It's actually insane. And if you don't want to go for these big high commitment moves, he also has pretty decent footsies. And what I mean is like this move here, his forward slash command normal has a ton of range. It's still special cancelable, and you can kind of play the game like a traditional Shoto, if you will. But let's talk about why he's so strong. So once he finally gets to an acceptable range and he knows he doesn't need to worry about his opponent trying to stop his approach, he gets to do that move there. And this move here is +2 on block. Why is that important that move is +2? It's because once he actually gets in, he can couple that +2-ness with this move here. So let's set Kai to punch in retaliation, right? He's like, man, he's gonna start doing, he's looking for a counter hit, right? So I'm gonna try and stop him from doing that move over and over again, right? He's stopping me. Oh man, whatever I'm gonna do. So what he can do with those plus frames he can intercept that button with his 3-frame normal. This is a 3-frame move, by the way. That means it starts up very quickly. So he can immediately say, no, I'm getting in, and there is absolutely nothing you're going to do to stop me. All right. Once he's established this, now Kai won't press anything anymore. And that's where it gets bad for him. That's when things get really bad. Because then he gets access to close slash. He can dash cancel that on an opponent who's sleeping on defense. Go right into grab, right? Take it a step further. Go right into command grab. Look at the damage on that, right? So he's essentially, once he gets in, he's saying you have to press something. You have to press something. And if you don't press something that's fast enough, let's say the opponent tries to respond with forward punch, right? And they're like, oh man, you know, that's invincible from the waist up. Everyone's forward punch is invincible from the waist up, basically, right? He's like, okay, so you came prepared? No, you didn't. Counter hit into a bunch of damage. See? That's what happens if I mistime it. But if I time it properly, he explodes, right? So now they can't press anything, and then they're right back where they started. Basically, Soul is really strong because he says, I'm getting in, and I'm knocking on the door, and you better have a response. Because if you ain't got a response, I'm going to kill you. That's straight up what Soul does. He destroys people. That's what he is. So if you're one of those people who just like, man, I want to get in there. I want to destroy my opponent. I don't even want them to think about thinking. I am the superior character. Sit. This is your guy. Deb, she plays probably one of the best Souls in the world right now. And her style reflects this idea heavily. It's a very suffocating play style. That's pretty much consistent throughout most of the Guilty Gear characters. If you let the Guilty Gear characters do what they want to do, it can be very suffocating at times. And Soul is one of the best at that, and at a very easily base level. And, you know, once you add Roman cancels to the equation, right, all those big movements that you used to get in, now they're not so big anymore, right? They're not so big anymore, right? So once he gets meter, he's even doubly threatening. So yeah, if you want to just get in there and plow through your opponents, make them scared, whimper in fear, and never be scared because you have this great Shoryuken or Dragon Punch move, this is your character. That's Soul Bad Guy. All right, so here we got young Ano, the GOAT, the GOATess of the game. So what is Eno trying to do? So if you didn't already know, I think this is a very hit. I don't see a lot of people talking about this, but Eno has one of the best buttons in the game. Some of the best buttons in the game. This slash here is super disjointed. That particular visual you see coming out, that little sound wave or whatever, that is completely disjointed. Meaning, like, you know, if you want another person press the forward slash, even if their forward slash comes out faster, as long as you space this correctly, you're actually going to get the counter hit in a lot of different spaces. And the same thing holds true for some of our heavy slashes too. This actually has a very big disjoint on it, right where those sound waves come out. Same thing with the crouch heavy slash. So a lot of people are playing her. Yeah, she is known for her mixing. Yeah, she has that. We're going to get into that. But her buttons are actually really, really solid. To couple her rushdown style with her unique air dash, she actually has a very good foundation in the neutral as well. So let's actually start there. So let's talk about our neutral tools. First, she has Chemical Love. This does miss some people who are ducking or have low profile movement options. But what this does is going to knock people full screen, and that's going to set us up for our next move, the Note. If you didn't know, you can control it. It goes up, it can go up, it can go down, it can go all around, even sit in the floor for a bit if you wanted to dodge a certain projectile, and then you scoot it back up. But the beauty of the move is that it opens up her ability to go in, because without it, a lot of her pressure isn't actually real, right? So once the Note makes contact, let's set him to stop jumping here. Once the Note actually makes contact, then she's free to just go off, right? And so from there, she can go double overhead, oops, triple overhead, right? Or she can go let it drop down, right? And this will go into her final special move here. Young Stroke the Big Tree with its safe variant, -7, and its +1 variant, I believe, the heavy slash version. Obviously, they can be interrupted because of the startup on it. But the idea with Eno is to control the neutral with her fantastic buttons, like so, and then make people uncomfortable just long enough for the Note to come out, right? That's what you want to do in neutral. The Note comes out, this secures entry, and then you get to have fun, right? Once you finally get here, you have your choice of, I'm actually not going to do that overhead. I'm actually going to go straight for the low. Or, I'm not going to do that overhead or that low. I'm just going to go for this grab, right? Or, you know, I'm not going to do that overhead. I'm just going to do this unreactable command grab. If you didn't already know, if they aren't already jumping by the time this animation comes out, that is 100% guaranteed. Does massive damage. And that's Ino in a nutshell. She just basically wants to establish herself long enough to get the note out. Once the note comes out, she can start assaulting you. She has a bunch of different options. A very easy fuzzy, meaning she has a lot of unreactable 50-50s that guarantee the hit. And of course, her damage is there to fit it all, you know, all in the one spot. When you finally pull it off, the reward's gonna be huge. And the best thing is, and with a lot of her moves, you'll begin to notice, hey, wait a minute, where are my hard knockdowns? Besides sweep, you know, this isn't giving me a hard knockdown. They get up darn near instantly. Same thing with this, right? Not even a knockdown state, right? She actually doesn't have that many knockdowns, and that's because what they want you to do is before they get up, you want the note to come out. And so that's just basically, you know, in a nutshell. You want to establish yourself, get the knockdown, or establish yourself long enough to get this note out and it actually to matter. Then you go in and you notice your opponent's defensive habits. You slowly break down their defense and you just get in. And before you know it, you have enough meter to basically threaten a three-way mix upon entry. High, low, or you're going to go for the command grab. And that's, you know, it's straight, clean, and simple. But of course, just like every other character in this game, you can push to the limit, and it gets pretty disgusting pretty quickly. She can become very overwhelming. I definitely think you guys should check out Diaphone. They're putting out Diaphone on Twitter. They're putting out great Ino content there, and Zato Ino, I believe, is also playing Ino as well. So you can find all their content on YouTube. Just type those two names in the way they sound, and you should be good. But yeah, that's Ino, the queen. I expect a lot of her in going into the future because it seems very simple on the surface, and there are some barriers that she has to get over. Once she gets over it, and players have time to develop, you know, she will be in a very, very interesting spot, to say the least. All right, so here we got Long Legs McGee, Lord Faust, the Messiah. No, I'm kidding, not the Messiah, but this is a good character, for sure. Let's start with his normal. So he actually has excellent range. This is his far slash. Actually, start with his kick. This kick here is huge. I don't think he hits round start, but it hits damn near, right? He can also go, he actually has a really good crouch slash. This is a great anti-air. This is his far slash. Great range there. And this is his crouch heavy slash. And even his stand heavy slash is pretty good. Not as much range as you would think, but this is actually a disjointed hitbox. That's a great move. All his buttons are great. Last one I want to mention here is his crouch dust. Look at that. It's a multi-hitting low. Every single one of those hits is a low. And then he can, of course, go into his sweep, or he can go into his overhead. And that's pretty good. Going into a multi-hitting low that you can cancel at any moment into dust, that's already great, right? So let's say he gets any of these little hits off, though. What is he allowed to do? Let's get into his special moves, right? So typically, you know, they'll find some kind of way to knock you down, right? And then they'll do item toss. And sometimes these items work towards Faust's benefit, and sometimes they don't. And if you're a good Faust player, you'll figure out how to make all of them work to your benefit, because there is a way. Shout out to Nage, the Faust god. Just search Nage. You'll see all of his Faust gameplay over the years. Absolutely phenomenal Faust player. He is Faust IMO. But yeah, if he isn't throwing items, what is he doing? Let's talk about his other special move. So the other special move of note, I think, that follows item toss is actually thrust here. This move is OD. Not only does it go almost full screen, if you get the sweet spot off like that, you get a big chunk of damage off. You reset them full screen, which gives you plenty of time to throw items and kind of see what you want to do from there. Not only that, on block, it actually builds a considerable amount of gauge. And it actually ties in perfectly. Let me get it up so you can see it past the little controller up there at the top. But there you go. It actually builds a considerable amount of gauge, and it actually creates this duality with his opponent. Will I throw the item and leave myself defenseless? Or am I going to stop you from trying to interrupt my item with this thrust, right? And then once he, you know, the thrust isn't that negative to where he can't just do it again before you travel full screen. If you decide to go through the air, he has a command normal that takes care of that, right? For heavy slasher, say, hey, what are you doing up there, buddy? Get back down here. I need you to guess. Am I going to throw an item? Am I going to thrust, right? And that's basically like the general game plan. So from there, if you just do this well, you're in a pretty good spot. You can also throw his little head down. This is pretty cool. Not the best, as we're coming to find out. Stay away from that kind of stuff for now. Try to play a little bit more grounded approach. Let's take a look at his other normals. He also has this move here, the tornado. Not safe on block. I think it's like -7. But this move has a bunch of different applications. Like we saw in the 10v10 in NA versus Japan, this move can actually use this kind of like a cross-up. Like, what side am I on? Oh, wait, I'm not doing it right because I'm not a Faust main. But this move actually has a bunch of different cool things you can do. I think the idea is something like this. Yeah, something like that. And he's like, is he going to cross over? Is he not going to cross over? What is he going to do? It gets kind of weird. Experiment with that move. That move actually has a lot of potential, as Nage's trying to show us here. And then next up, he has the tornado. I mean, not the tornado, the scarecrow. This is my favorite move. First of all, he instantly teleports, and he has 3 different versions. The punch version puts you right next to him. The kick version puts him behind the opponent, and the slash version puts him immediately airborne. It's actually kind of insane. These are not safe on block, but when coupled with RC, they become a great mode of transportation. Which again couples with our game plan, right? Because if we're trying to keep our opponent full screen all day and make them guess, do we want to interrupt their advance or do we want to throw items? All of a sudden, you're just like, nah, I'm gonna grab you real quick. Let me show you how it's done. I'm gonna grab you real quick. Wait, how am I slowing? Oh, I'm messing up. I didn't do the drift. But yeah, you get the idea, right? And once he finally knocks you down, either with his regular grab or his command grab, right? You have to guess immediately again, is he gonna go strike or is he gonna go throw? So let's talk about the afro here. So if you actually do jump dust, it sets the hair on fire, and eventually they will have to block. And you get the similar effect with some of his other items. When he pulls a certain item like a mini Faust, the trumpet. We pulled trumpet, didn't we? Yeah, we pulled trumpet. Even bomb, right? All these things say, hey, you have to block right now. And that really goes into his game plan. Since I know you have to block, or I know that you cannot handle the chaos on the screen, I live in the chaos. I'm ready for it. You have to just pull up, hit him with the command grab, set the hair on fire, and put them right back in the exact same situation. And that's basically what you want to do with Faust. You just want to be like, hey, are you paying attention? Which scarecrow am I? Are you paying attention? I hope you weren't just walking at me willy-nilly. Were you paying attention? Ah, you just let me pull 3 items, bro? Not very good. Were you paying attention? You know? Faust is all about just mixing up your special cancels and making your opponent guess when they should advance, what items should they be looking for, what to do in the chaos. But as a Faust player, you live in the chaos and you're used to it, and you're going to plan out a bunch of different responses. There's tons of tech on how to respond to a bunch of different scenarios with this character online. Again, I would say watch Faust, Hood Gang God, Apology Man. They put out great content for this kind of thing. And yeah, that's Faust, just thriving in the chaos, but at the same time, he still has a solid foundation. This is a good move. This is a good move. This even here has some faults, but this is a good move too. He doesn't work. He's unique for a reason. He's unique for a reason. But if you put the time in, you will be an absolute nutcase, and no one will know what to do but you. You will see the colors. This is one of my favorite songs in the game. So yeah, that's Faust, guys. Definitely pick him up. Don't be afraid. Don't think he's weak. I've heard people think he's bad. I think just give him time. Just gotta play this character. But yeah, that's Faust, guys. Let's move on to the next character. All right, so here we are with my boy Leo. I've been maining him ever since like the first week of the game, and he has been one hell of a character. So let's get started. I can talk about him all day. I don't want to rant too long, get too technical, but let's just start with the normals. So first off, his normals are not fast, meaning like if you test out a bunch of different round starts, chances are if you and your opponent press slash, right, because usually this button is going to reach across that distance, he's probably going to lose. He's not fast, right? That isn't fast. Heavy slash obviously isn't fast. His kick isn't even that fast. That's a 9-frame normal. Doesn't reach. You have to like include dash, which takes up at least a frame. And nothing really special going on there, right? He does have some command normals. Forward kick here does take up some range. It's not the fastest though. And here's his forward heavy slash. We'll get to that in a minute, but obviously a not very quick move. So what is Leo good at in terms of his buttons, right? So he has this very special property where he can actually link together his slash and his heavy slash back and forth like so, right? And he can get really schmixy, a little schmixy, and then actually go for a little low there if he wants, right? That's pretty cool. But basically he can go back and forth in between until the pushback is too great and he eventually ends up whiffing. That's why his buttons aren't so quick, because once he finally gets to you, he can kind of lock you down and make you guess. If you don't want to guess and he puts your backs to the wall and he uses that command normal, oh, that's coming back, right? Remember I told you to become relevant? If he uses this command normal, he'll to keep re-engaging. You see that risk gauge going up there? Eventually get to a point where if they get caught pressing a button, you're going to get a humongous return in terms of a counter hit. So Leo isn't very quick, but when he finally gets a hold of you, he makes you guess. He really, really does make you guess. And that's just the simple stuff, right? So let's talk about his special moves now. So the first thing I want to talk about is his projectile. It is a charge move. You hold back, you press forward, right? But it is a multi-hitting projectile. This is very strong. It's going to beat a lot of single-hit projectiles. There are a lot of single-hit projectiles in the game. You will basically win most fireball wars in the game. Knowing this, you instantly gain priority once you threaten it, and your opponent has to come towards you, and that's where his second special move comes into play. His flash kick, similar to Guile or DP. It doesn't have strike invincibility, so he can do it on wake up to get people off of him. But if you couple the fact that he can do a bunch of different multi-hitting projectiles and the fact that he can cover his airspace, right? It doesn't matter that he's very slow, because once he gets to space that he likes to be at, he can just pretty much force you to come at him, right? You can't just eat these all day, right? You can be very, very, you can just harass people and kind of play at your pace, and when you finally get in, you get to go bam, 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 chalk a slam. So that's how those two special moves go together. Next up, in terms of our special moves, we have this move here, quarter circle back slash. It actually doesn't do much by itself. It is working combos and such, but more so it's about when you hold down the slash button, you go into stance, okay? And this is one of the primary ways you do that. Let's talk about another way to go into stance, actually, before I go into the stance itself. If you do quarter circle forward heavy slash, you get to go into stance, and the third and last way you can go from stance is get a regular grab off. So once you get to stance, things get really, this is what they don't want. This is what you want to aim for Leo, because once you're in stance, you can switch in between your punch and kick really quickly. Almost like older Guilty Gear games, right? Where you just go really fast, punch, 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 kick, 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 right? You can do that now. Not only that, you get access to this low here, right? And you get access to this overhead with your heavy slash. And the great thing about this is that they kind of have to guess, because the low is damn near unreactable, right? The overhead is reactable, but that's the mix-up. Once they finally block it, right, and you choose not to special cancel, you can still special cancel or Gatling into your dust, which is pretty unique. You cannot block during the stance or jump, by the way, but you do get access to some other stuff too. You also get access to a command grab. It goes pretty far, holy moly. Does a great bit of damage. You also get this move here. Creates over 20 frames of block stun, and it basically asks the opponent, hey, I get a free, you have to guess now, right? He can even switch sides during the block stun, so that's really, really strong. Basically, when you're playing Leo, once you establish yourself in neutral, there's a bunch of different ways to get into your stance, right? And this is one of the primary ways here. This is really strong. You are +2 on this, and you can kind of you can just match. These buttons are very good. Both the punch and the kick. Once you get in, they got to start guessing. Will he go overhead? Will he go low? Is he going to use the command grab? Is he going to do this to me to make me guess even harder? Build up that risk gauge, yada, yada, yada. You see the game plan, right? You establish yourself with your great projectiles, right? You can do that out of the stance, by the way. And then you get to stance, and you just assault. You break through. You get your big damage off, because you watched my combo guide on Leo, of course. And you just run that strategy. It's that simple. Now, one last little tidbit before we head out on Leo here is that he can actually cancel the stance after he's done some of his normals in it. So, for example, right, if I press down, down, he'll just flip out of the stance, right? So we couple this with our special moves, and now we're actually plus on block off our slash and our heavy slash. I think you can also do it off punch as well. Obviously, you don't get as many plus frames, right? But this is very strong, because a lot of people are going to try and be like, oh, he's probably going to do this into the shield, right? I'll grab him then. That's when I'll make my move. And you're like, no, I'm actually +5, by the way. You're actually going to sit, and you're going to have to eat this schmicks, because I'm coming right back for you. I'm right back on top of you. Oh, you sleep at the wheel? You just let me get back in the stance. Here we are. What am I going to do? I don't know, but it's probably going to hurt. But yeah, that's Leo. He wants to get to stance. He has some of the best he has the best projectile in the game. Does have its weaknesses, of course, but he's not very fast. But once he finally gets to stance, he can finally be on even ground with a lot of characters in terms of like offensive prowess. All right, so yeah, let's keep the pride strong. Play Leo, great character. If you guys have any questions about this, please come by the stream or just ask me in a this YouTube video actually, and I got you. All right, so next up here we got my boy Anji. Don't let the fans fool you. This man hurts. He's actually the Punish King. I think he's one of the most cerebral characters in the game. And what I mean by that is that in order to perform well with this character, you really have to understand the flow of battle, what your opponent's options are, and what they want to do. And Anji has ways to shut that all down. So let's start with his special moves, because his it'll make more sense if we start there, right? So actually, let's start with this button. So right out the gate, you're gonna be like, man, these buttons are not very fast. Look at the animations; they're not quick, right? The idea is that they don't want to give you strong buttons, and here's why, right? Let's get into the special moves now. So first up, we got the spin. The spin itself is a guard point, meaning if we set our opponent here to press a button, right? Oh, she's pressing that really fast. Wait. There we go. All right. Basically, that guard point means that move will be treated as if it's whiffed, and Anji is free to press a button. So again, wait. See, it says punish there. Basically, Anji doesn't have quick buttons because he's allowed to basically go through his opponent's buttons and basically steal a turn from his opponent at any given moment. If you're playing Anji and you feel like they're going to press anything, this also works for projectiles. You can go right through them. It does not matter. So the idea is you don't have good buttons. Your opponents have good buttons. They're going to use those buttons. You're going to spin through those buttons. That's the most important thing about Anji. Okay? Now, once you get a good idea for game flow, right, or the flow of with your opponent, just, getting the vibe, just vibing with your opponent. Once you understand your opponent's vibe, then you can get into your Fujin, right? And this move, it doesn't look very good on the surface. I was actually thinking this character wasn't so strong at the beginning, but it's come to light. This character is actually very, very strong in the right hand. So let's talk about Fujin real quick. Didn't already know. It's got a low follow up there. So if they try to mash out of the Fujin and they don't want to wait for the follow up, they get smacked up. Let's set her to not do anything here. It also has a overhead if you press heavy slash. That is unsafe. You want to save that for when you know the character or your opponent specifically is going to be looking for the low, right? He has a safe exit right here with this. This does have counterplay to it, but it's relatively safe if they don't see it coming. If you mix it up with the low, you're pretty good. Last up, we got the kick follow-up. This basically here is a little bit of a reset. It's a little cheeky little move you can do to be like, I know you're scared of me. Let me just go ahead and grab you real quick. And speaking of grab, let's talk about the next part of his game plan. So once he finally gets in with all of his big brainedness and he made you guess wrong, let's say he gets the grab off. Next up, we have Shitsu here. And that move there has two parts to it. You see, first, it's a butterfly, then it turns to a bird. They cannot do anything about that. Even if a projectile intercepts that, it will reach its second phase upon contact. This is a hitbox they have to deal with, namely on wake up. It's our set play tool. In between the first and second hit, Anji's going to make you guess. Am I going to go low? Am I going to go with an overhead? Am I going to grab you in between two? Okay? And again, he's a very cerebral character. Let's see the grab version real quick. I think this is... I don't want to do all that now. This right here is extremely devastating because you put them right back in the same spot and they have to guess, right? And so eventually they're going to want to press buttons. You have two responses to that, right? You can go, oh, you wanted to press? You fell for my trap card. Oh, you wanted to press? I already had a button waiting there for you. So it doesn't matter that his buttons are slow. He wants you to press the buttons. They don't want you to play this character somebody like Maid. Literally, Maid's the exact opposite. She knows she has priority in these neutral situations. He's going to take advantage of that. Anji, on the other hand, he has to get a feel for his opponent, work his way in, and then don't let go. And he uses Shitsu here to do that, and his spins to stay in control, and Fujin here to keep them always on their feet. There's so much guessing they have to do that isn't really direct. It's like indirect guessing, and it makes them uncomfortable. And once you make your opponent uncomfortable, you've won, right? Because now you get access to this here, right? Eventually, they're going to get opened up. They're going to slow down, and now your buttons don't seem so bad anymore. And you just run that game plan until they lose. And if I didn't already mention it, of course, it's in the Anji combo video, of course, but he actually does a ton of damage. If you didn't already know. I mean, just look at this. That's like a basic combo. That's 134. That's bordering souls damage. Meterless, that is. And obviously, once you start adding meter to the equation, right? Right, I just thought of something. We did 161 there, and we're definitely going to get wall break. And he has a bunch of different things he can do. He can also add the spin to his special move. So he also has his anti-air special move, and obviously Fujin. He can add the spin to Fujin. So if you know the opponent's going to try and bait out the spin because the spin can be beaten with grab, you're like, oh, you're looking for something to punish? No, sir, you better be blocking. Fujin's on its way, right? So they have to play this mind game. How long will he spin? Will he do Fujin at the end of it? Will he be airborne at the end of it? Right? So, like, again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, this character is very, very cerebral. You have to understand what the opponent is going to want to do and let them do it. Invite them activate that trap card. That's Anji. He's playing up in the mind. He's not playing the frame data like a lot of other characters are. If that's your cup of tea, Anji's your boy. I love Anji because he basically turns the entire game on its head. If Chipp has anti-neutral and everyone else has neutral, then Anji has something in between. I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, if you play against a good Anji player, they make you very uncomfortable. You don't want to press a button, and if you don't want to press a button, he's getting in there, and you gotta guess now. But yeah, that is Anji. Fantastic character, big brain, high octane. Definitely pick him up too. You know, they say the mind of the average Potemkin main is strong enough to power a small city on its own. Holy moly. I've been talking about cerebral characters, but Potemkin is like the most cerebral of them all. We all know what he wants. He wants to grab, right? But the name of the game is, how does he get them to grab? I mean, how does he get them to block, right? How do they get them to block long enough for the grab to get in? So, he shares a lot of ways to do that. Let's start with his buttons. First of all, that's his far slash, humongous range. That's his heavy slash. That is amazing in terms of damage in return. It's even, look at it fill up the wrist gauge. I didn't even notice that, right? So he's saying, hey, you actually cannot block, right? That's just off his buttons alone. Obviously, all of his normals do ridiculous. Why is no one talking about this? Do you see that wrist gauge just blowing up? That's ridiculous. Anyway, don't sleep on his normals. They're extremely good. Apparently, they build up wrist gauge, which means you actually have to stop blocking them at some point. You will explode at some point. You will get hit, and you will lose everything that you have blocked for in a very swift moment. So those are his normals. They're pretty big. As you saw, they are pretty punishable, though, if they are blocked. So you got to be careful with your spacing. But that trend kind of continues with his special moves, too. So let's talk about his special moves. First off, let's talk Mega Fist. If he goes forward with it, not necessarily the safest on block. If he goes backwards with it, it's obviously safe for spacing reasons. The frame data also makes it safe, too. But this move is very important because even if the opponent does punish them, if they don't appropriately do the correct response, you can just be like, okay, you hit me, but you didn't combo me. I'm still in position for Kara Buster here. There we go, because I'm not terrible at the game, right? And now he got you, right? So the name of the game with a lot of his moves actually is like, okay, I know this is an unsafe movement, and I don't have meter to make it safe, but that's okay because the game state that I'm going into, I'm aware it's going to happen, and if you aren't prepared, that's going to give me more than enough time to pop out young Kara Buster here. What I mean by Kara Buster is combining it with his command normal here to extend the range, but he can just do the Potemkin Buster like normal. But yeah, so Mega Fist is already huge because it's going to either make the opponent very uncomfortable, or you're just, if they block it, like if they don't punish it, you literally just do the grab, right? They're going to explode. But that move is very good. This move is very good at making people uncomfortable. It's not reactable, honestly. Like, I've tried to anti-air this, at least online. It's not, they're not going to stop this. But let's talk about his other special moves now. So next up, we got Slide Head here. This move is 0 on block, but if they don't block it, right, they fall flat on their face, which means, oops, we could be charging our next move, Hammer Fall, right? And that's a great way to advance. If you didn't know, you can press punch to cancel the hit part of it. So if they don't press anything in retaliation, you actually get right in their face really quickly once you get through those recovery frames. So Potemkin's all about, I want them to block, right? How do I make them block? Because once they decided to block, then they can't stop me, right? And if they jump too much, you got Heat Knuckle, forward, down, forward, HS, saying, hey, you can't just, you can't just sit in the air. That's plus on block for me, buddy. You have to block. Potemkin is basically suffocating you oh so slowly, killing you oh so softly, and then when he gets in, it's nap time, right? And another way he has to do this, and please use this if you're a Potemkin player, Garuda Impactor. This move is huge. Ridiculously huge on block. And a little mix-up he can do after this is say, hey, if you don't block after this, if you try to press a button, you're actually going to get swept, right? Once I've swept you, right, you have a big problem because now I'm directly on top of you. You either have to jump, which I have Heat Knuckle for, or you're going to have to stand there, which I have this for, right? So this move is incredibly good. If you guys ever get a hit on this character or a hard knockdown with sweep here, just walk up, do this on their wake up, and they're screwed. Let me try and shut this off for you guys real quick too. And it goes into Potemkin Buster, by the way. If it actually hits, if they get up and start mashing in fear, they're taking a nap, by the way. But yeah, That's all you need to do with Potemkin. Just take a look at his special moves. What's going to make them block, right? Are they sending projectiles? Boom. Can't spam projectiles. They want to jump? Boom. Can't jump anymore? Now you're scared? Right? Then you hit him with that. Sloppy example, but you get the idea. That's what Potemkin's about. We all know what he's about, but he actually has a lot of different things he can do. If your mechanics are nice, you can do things like Kara Potemkin Buster here. You see, I'll try to slide for it. I'm doing it poorly, as we can see. But there we go. There we go. You see I can slide forward. This can also apply to some of his other moves. You can Kara, oh my god. Imagine my inputs being that sloppy. You can also Kara Heat Knuckle. There it is. You can also Kara, if you're really nice. Let me see if I'm nice. I'm not nice. But you can also Kara backwards Mega Fist to advance with it. It's insane. Let me see. There it is. Oh my god, it's disgusting. So now that move is safe and advancing, right? So if you just want to, if you're a very cerebral player and you just need these basic tools to get your opponent to be uncomfortable, there we go, and do things like that, get in there. If you're nice, if you really got that execution and you're ready to take him to the next level, there's tools there too. It does not stop with this guy. I thought he was very surface level strong, but this is probably one of the best design grapplers I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like he's grabbing you without grabbing you. It's insane. Potemkin can play any part of the screen. There's no outright weakness with this character. He has an answer to a lot of situations. You put the time in, you will get the results. That is Potemkin. He is here to do his job. Target decommissioned. But yeah, that's Potemkin. Man, this mofo right here. Young Chipp Zaneth from crackhead to king. Man, this character is something. I mean, whew, let's just get into the facts. First off, this guy's fast. He's got 3 jumps. Oh my god, look at that. Look, he has so much. This character's ridiculous. Anyway, but yeah, Chipp's fast. He has the lowest health in the game though, right? And the reason being, let me turn Good Soul here off for a second. He's over here trolling. And the reason being is because he has one of the most terrifying offensive options in the game. He has a cross that goes grounded. He has a cross. Oh my god. He has a cross. He has a cross that goes in the air. These are all safe on block, by the way. If that wasn't already terrifying enough, right? He also has a command grab that reaches from round start, by the way. If that wasn't enough, if you're just scared and you're shaking and you I just want to block and defend against everything, right? He can also reset his turn with Gamma Blade here. That gives him +5. You can hit the clone, but that's not even where it stops. Yeah, he has one more special move we have yet to talk about. This move here, man. Oh my god, the bane of my existence. We'll call these his Rekkas, right? Because once he begins it, he's locked into a set of options. He can either go low with the foot here, and that's his safe exit out, or he can go for the overhead. And that's where things get a little bit schmixy, because he can do the overhead a little bit sooner, or, he can not do it at all. Either way, if he startles your defense at all, and you decide to try and block either one, he could just stop and reinitiate, right? Who's gonna stop him? He's too fast. But yeah, Chipp is just that straightforward. He can seem gimmicky at first to an inexperienced player, but when you actually understand all the options available to you, he's actually just a menace. And don't think for a second, I'm seeing a lot of people saying he doesn't do damage. I don't know where they got that from. But this guy hurts just like everybody else. You just gotta find it. He's so fast. He requires a lot from you. The one thing he requires from you is to be prepared for anything. He's not a character that necessarily wants to move left and right and play traditional, like a Street Fighter. He wouldn't want to play the game like Soul, or Kai, no one really plays the same, but he's one of the few characters that just doesn't want the game to be still. That's not where he shines. If you're one of those players that's just man, I don't want my opponent to have time to think, they need to consider these 8 options I can entertain at any given moment. Even more so in the corner. He gets access to wall run. His alpha blades get changed up like so. If you're one of those people who just want the opponent to constantly be on their feet, they don't get to think, they don't get to breathe, this is your character. Kind of like Millia in a way, but in a different kind of way. It can be seen as annoying, but in reality, it's just hyper fast, Man, it's not even a way to describe this. He's just assaulting you at all means. And he's just so quick, he doesn't have to play neutral. He has what I like to call anti-neutral. He has so many ways to take what people are trying to do in the neutral and just say, no. You want to move left and right really fast? No, I'm not going to let you do that, right? I'm going to teleport here. I'm going to teleport here. Like, it's just nothing you can do about it. He can stall himself in the air. Has a bunch of different ways to just not play neutral. But yeah, if you're one of those players who just like wants to keep mixing, mix, and then cash out when the time is just right, this is your character. I believe our boy Lord Kenso is playing this guy, and Goichi's playing. A lot of the Japanese players are playing this guy right now. I think he's very, very strong. Everyone's strong, but this character right here, with enough time and development, man, I don't know how we're going to defend against this guy. He has like a 5-way mix on guard, and that's just on guard, bro. His neutral is insane. It can be scary for him at times. His normals are pretty good. This is really good. He can whiff cancel this, but give enough time. If you're one of those players who's ready to stick with it and doesn't care because they're not going to get hit, this is your character, okay? Welcome to the ninja world. All right, so good old honest Kai Kiske. So first thing I want to throw out the window is that this character is honest, because he's not. And what I mean by that is not to say that he's dishonest. What I mean is, in order to unlock Kai Kiske, you have to go above and beyond. You have to look underneath the surface. Shout outs to SKD, really taking a finer look at the system mechanics and pushing Kai to his limits. When you play Kai, you have to ask yourself, not what can Kai do for me, what can I do for Kai? That's what he demands from you. And if you are asking that question when you open this game up and play this character, that is what you're going to get. Because if you try to just do stuff out of the bag with this guy, he's not very strong, right? This isn't even an overhead, by the way. This low is not safe, right? This is not necessarily a safe exit out of a block string, by the way. Some characters can punish this. So what you have to do with Kai is go into the lab, figure out what you want to do in the game, in the matchup, and certain spots, and then go from there. And what this does is make it to where every Kai player is a different breed of Kai, right? There's no way to play the same because there's no correct answer to a lot of these situations. He really is about discovery. Maybe Kai is a true Guilty Gear, but enough messing around. Kai is for those kinds of players that just like, hey, I see this not as something that's not strong, but something that I need to take advantage of. How can I make it better? I don't, a lot of people will be like, Kai needs meter. And it's like, no, you need to take a deeper look at the system mechanics and push this character further. Shout out to SKD with his bits on FD canceling, opening up his safe jump option set. Things like that. Players like that, SKD, Kizzy K, they're really trying to be like, all right, this is what I have. What can I do with it? What can I really do with it? If you're one of those players that wants to play the game and push, that is Kai Kiske, because he's not going to give you free wins. Unlike our boy Soul over there right now. Looking at you, Soul play. No, you're not looking at Soul. Now the question is, with all that said, what are the pillars of Kai? Even though every Kai is their own different breed, we all are working with the same tool set. Let me give you guys a couple functions to use in-game so you're not completely naked out there and you can start creating your own breed of Kai. So first off, right, this projectile is good, but it's not the best kind of projectile. What I mean by that is it has a lot of recovery on it. A lot of people I've seen at lower rank still, or people who are new to Kai, will just typically use this move like it's a Hadouken, and it's just, this is Guilty Gear. A lot of characters have a way of going through it. Some characters, forward punch can literally they can just use this to approach you as you let a projectile out, go right on through it. Characters have moves that are low profile, right? There's so many different air options, just basically, right? Even without doing special moves to kind of navigate through this guy. So Hadouken, you can think of it as that, but it's not the strongest, right? What you wouldn't really want to do with Kai is play the inside here. This move here is your best friend, Crouch Slash. This is a lot better than Far Slash. Try not to use Far Slash. Crouch Slash is faster, actually goes further, and retracts faster on whiff, which means you're less likely to get hit if you miss the button. If you play from this range, you can entertain the idea of, I'm going to do a projectile. So you're not free to move after I get done doing this. You could also entertain this if you notice they're blocking high a lot, right? And once you finally get in, Kai gets a little bit more interesting, right? So I have Soul set here to do a 4-frame jab after we block, right? And once we get in, Kai's not necessarily the scariest, right? But his command normals are where he shines. And let me show you. So first command normal is our forward kick here. Obviously, it's forward punches. pretty good. But his forward kick here is what we want to look at. That creates plus frames on block, meaning if we set Soul here to do a punch, we could beat him to the punch. It's plus 4 on block, right? He can't actually press anything there, right? And if he decides to contest us, right? I'm being bad. I can stop being bad for like 2 seconds, I swear. Oh my god, maybe I can't. Oh my god, am I this bad? There we go. Right? He decides to contest, he gets swept, and then we get to go into our Oki tool, another one of the pillars of Kai Kisk, actually. So we throw out this Oki tool here. Oh, let's get him to stop blocking low. We get access to this here, and now he has to block on wake up, and he's kind of back in the same situation, right? If we decide to take that block zone and recreate another turn, he has to be like, man, I can't contest, right? So that really opens up things like this, right? Once we turned our opponent to not contest, then we get access to, let's see, boom, run in, tick throw, right? That's on the table. We have a simple strike throw mix off this exact same frame trap setup that we talked about. If we notice they're getting button happy again and they're trying to contest us in more spots, we could take things a step further, right? So let's say we get in there with our close slash and we do our forward heavy slash instead. And what I want you guys to see about this, so let's give him a 4 frame normally. He does have a 3 frame, so the time can get tricky with that, but he can still beat the 3 frame. Right, but let's say we get on top of him, however we get on top of him, right? And then we get access to close slash, right? If we actually stagger our buttons appropriately, we get this humongous counter hit. So when Kai is on top of his opponent, off his kicks as well, actually, he can actually put them in a very scary situation. He's like, hey, are you going to keep letting me steal turns where I can make you guess strike throw, right? Or are you going to try to contest me, and then I'm going to get you with the giant counter hit, right? It's going to do, you know, those kind of counter hits, especially from mid-screen, are going to net you 200 plus damage and wall break, right? So Kai's really, really interesting in a bunch of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to get to that game, right? So first off, you can kind of get to it if you get a knockdown, right? That's what this move is for, right? If you space it correctly, you can get the knockdown, you can get on top of him, right? Here's another way of getting on top of him. He can go boom into boom, right? That's plus, right? They have to guess, hey, is he going to go down here, right? If he goes down here, is he going to go into sweep? Is he going to go into dust mix here? Or is he just going to shoot for the stars, really, right? And kind of go right out the gate. Just go for the plus frames, right? And you're back in this trap. Is he going to keep trying to create those plus frames? Is he going to tick throw me? Is he laying down his trap card and he's like, yo, I'm going to hit you with this? Okay, I'm not timing that right. But you get the idea, right? So yeah, those are just a couple little tricks he can do. And things obviously get a lot more disgusting when you use bar, because he can do fuzzy setups, but I don't want to get too technical here. But yeah, that's Kai Kisk. He can do a lot of different cool stuff. And you really just have to push and look at each move individually and ask yourself, what can you give to this character? Okay, that's Kai Kisk. Next up, we have the queen, young Millia Rage, coming in hot. The set play queen herself. Shout outs to LK. So let's get to talking about her. So first off, she's really, really fast, right? She's got 2 air dashes. Her move speed is phenomenal, and her normals come out pretty quickly. They're not extremely disjointed or privileged, but they definitely get the job done. People can't just willy-nilly press things against her, right? Especially since she can kind of maneuver herself throughout the air, but she's not one of the characters that just makes sense on the surface. What is Millia trying to do in the game, right? You know, if our opponent blocks us, we're normally in a pretty bad spot. You won't find a really good special cancel option like if you're playing Soul, right? If you're playing Soul, you almost always know what you want to do. You know, you could always gunflame and you're going to be fine, right? But she can't do this at the end of her combo. She can't do that. That's not safe. This has very situational uses. Nothing really is making too much sense out of the gate, right, with this character. What is she about? She is the set play queen. And what I mean by that is she has this move here. This is your best friend if you want to play Millia. This move here activates later, right? So it's upon us to give that ring time to activate. And how we do this, primarily, we'd like to get a sweep off, like so. Right? And if our opponent tries to jump out, you see Soul here is going to try and jump, right? If our opponent tries to get out of the ring, it's a no-go, right? All we have to do is hit them with a meaty button on the way. Oh, I'm messing this up. There we go. There we go, right? And we can combo from there. So basically what you're trying to do with this character is not let the opponent play at all. And she has a bunch of different ways to shut down a bunch of different means of counterplay. So let's say Soul's like, haha, I'm so smart. I'm going to try and backdash. Excuse me. I'm going to try and backdash, right? That has 5 frames of invincibility. I'm so smart. No, doesn't work. Maybe they're like, My Volcanic Viper, strike invincible, right? Even if I do this, I'm good. Nope, she smokes that too. She doesn't care. If you are one of those players that likes to really test things out in the lab and be super duper precise with what you're trying to do and not let the like literally no interaction is required, she has counterplay to a lot of things. As long as she gets the knockdown, it's her match. Quite literally. I haven't seen a character that just gets out of this for free. A resource will have to be consumed. You all have to use burst. You will have to use YRC, and even then she, you know, a good player is going to see that coming. And you're pretty much, basically this is a nightmare situation. She's the character that knocks you down, and then the other player has to sit and eat whatever the fuck's about to happen. So, you know, if you're like Marvel and you don't want to let the opponent play, this is your character. But yeah, that is Millia. It's literally that simple. All she wants to do is get the knockdown. She can do it like this, right? Get it off the grab. If you're nice, boom, dead. Get it off the clip, the sweep, dead. She gets it off hair card. Not as strong as the others, unless you're in the corner, right? But still, there is no escape. She literally suffocates her opponent to death. If that's what you like, there you go. And if I haven't already said it enough, just watch Lord Knight. He's the king of the queen. Yo, Dynasty's going off on this song. All right, so let's talk Ram, guys. So if you didn't already know, Ram's about those giant swords. Before we get to the giant swords, let's take a look at her punches and her kicks. They are pretty minuscule, right? But they are pretty good for scrambling, or like at least establishing herself in a scramble. They're not really slow. So definitely don't sleep on these if you're playing Ram or you're playing against Ram. She can really use these in a bunch of different ways. But Ram is honestly about her slash, right? And her heavy slash. They're huge. Disjointed hitboxes. They're gonna push you into the corner, and that's when she really turns on, right? If you didn't already know, when she throw the swords out, they hit the corner, they explode. And this is a very important part of her game plan, because now the onus is on the opponent to kind of figure out how they're gonna get out of here. If they want to run straight back, right, like try to round the corner before the explosion hits, you smack them back in. If they want to try and lead through the sky, you go boom. If it's something awkward in between using a special move, you just keep them in place with the punches and the kicks, and you just keep the rotation going. It's literally that simple, okay? And when she's in the corner, she has this great overdrive here. That right thing is called Morabato. It actually is a very, very fast move. It doesn't hit behind her, but it hits high up as well. So if you ever have your back to the wall and you're like, man, I just want to let loose real quick, because she does actually build meter fast, because she typically is just in control, right, of the match, because she can just do this, right? If her back's over to the wall, they have to respect her. A lot of characters that have very strong neutral like this, like Zato, would love to have a reversal, right, that he could do when he got up. That was invincible and covered the amount of space that hers covers, right? But he doesn't. She actually gets that. And Ram also just turns on in different ways. So let's say you have a lot of meter. Let's say you have 100% meter, right? Then you get access to cool stuff like this. Challenge to the animation. You can RC it. The explosion is still going, and now you have an unseeable 50-50. So Ram is straightforward in what she's trying to do. There's not really much to talk about. She wants to put you in the corner, right? If her back's to the wall, this is coming. This is coming. This is her get out of jail free card. If you let her get a lot of meter, because she's just kind of running over you, locking you in the cage, she's going to get access to meter, which means she gets to do really gross stuff like this. I can't even see my character. That's insane. But yeah, that's Ram. If you're one of those people who just like, I want to be in complete control all the time, and I want people to respect me right out the gate, this is your character. And if you ever lose neutral, you have a very, very, very strong get off me tool. This move actually punishes moves that are negative, like -10 or higher. It's actually insane. People just cannot in their block string certain ways against Ram. She is the queen of the mid-range, and there's just no denying it. I mean, oh my gosh, she touches you twice and you're in the corner. But yeah, that's Ram, guys. Her game plan is pretty simple. Not much to expand on. We'll have to see what people do with her in the future. But she really turns on with meter. That's when things get really interesting. She can do things like this, or she can do things like that, right? But yeah, that's Ram. Straightforward. She wants to see the giant swords, push you into the corner, queen of the mid-range. All right, now we got the boy from Young Britain, Axel Lowe. I love this character and the story and whatnot. You don't see a lot of Axels, and that's because He's cerebral in a different kind of way. So let's talk about his normals. Obviously, he's a long-range specialist. As the game tells us, he has this incredible low, incredible jumping slash. We all know it punches ridiculous range, right? And another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is his control of the airspace. This is his forward kick. This is his crouch slash. He actually has a lot of good anti-airs that are long range. It's very, very unique to him, and that's very, very important, as I'm going to show you guys. But yeah, his normals are pretty straightforward. If you've seen them, you've seen them. Not much to leave to the imagination there. Something I do want to talk about, though, that you guys may not know, is that if you're playing Axel or you're against Axel, be careful when he does his lows, because these are actually these are like -10, -12 on block, so they can be relatively unsafe. He is almost always going to have to special cancel or give up some real estate in exchange. So if you see him doing these lows a little bit too much without any special moves, let him know that you know that's not that's not Omega safe. So anyway, let's get into a special move, because that's where things really start to open up. So first off, we have Sickle Flash. It's a Stars move, right? Has a bunch of different follow-ups. You have the explosion there. If you press slash, if you hold up, you can catch people jumping at you and pull them in, right? And continue your assault from there. And if they're kind of slowly inch forward, right, because they're aware of your frame data or whatever, or they think they have a read on what you're trying to do, or they don't want to jump, you can suck them in like that. That is a low they have to block. It is safe on block, but that puts them in a really, really good spot to do a number of different things. So let's talk about this spacing here. This is very important on Axel, because this is where he's the most threatening, even though it doesn't feel like it, right? So first off, he can jump, press slash. Second, he can hit you with this low, right? Same thing with this punch here. That is a low, by the way. And the most dubious of them all is he can also do his command normal forward heavy slash. This is one of his few overheads, and this is extremely important that he stays in this range, because this is his method of advancing, but at the same time threatening you of the overhead, because normally you never have to think about it. But yeah, typically Axel, or when you play Axel, you're going to want to just maintain this distance so that you can always threaten forward heavy slash, so they're always kind of scared to jump. Okay, and once you get them to stop jumping, then that's when your kid opens up, right? We can go into Sickle Flash. We can go into Snail after we get a couple hits. Let's talk Snail real quick. Snail is this here. Quarter circle, back heavy slash. This is not safe on block. This is only for combos. You can do it in the air. It's pretty straightforward. I don't want to talk about that move. I do want to talk about this move, though. Now, if you played against Axel, you know there's a bunch of different ways to beat him, right? You just kind of wait for him to do either this move here or go low, and you advance with those very negative on block frames that I talked about, right? But a good Axel is going to force you off the ground using this move here. This move here. This is going to say you have to stand up. You have to stand up. Wait, I don't know why I keep messing this up. You have to stand up. I mean, you have to jump, right? This is a risk for Axel, but he has to entertain it because otherwise you can just walk in on them, like, straight up. That's literally how he would just lose very slowly, but he would lose. And so once he successfully entertains that you have to jump to get over this, that's when the can of worms gets open. He has access to these great anti-airs. Boom, boom, boom. That's an air-to-air, but you get the idea. That's when you know you're playing Axel. When you force your opponent to go airborne, a lot of characters in this game don't have a lot of air mobility. If they do, it comes at some kind of cost, right? Even Ino here, right? She has to go straight up. She doesn't get to go directly to Axel, like in a particular way, right? When you force her off her feet without her note coming out, she's not in the greatest spot. And the same holds true for a lot of different characters in the game. They don't want to jump. They want to use their moves to advance, or they want to advance with a particular, like, button in mind. And Axel just says no. Once you get them stabilized, once you stabilize neutral and you say, hey, you're gonna sit there, okay? Now what? Now you're gonna jump, right? Knocks you out the sky, you fall right back into the ground. And that's when you're playing Axel. So that's why I say he's a very cerebral character. He's not really, a lot of people are playing him like, I'm going to just jump back and do this, and that's not how you play him. You want to kind of sit in this range here so you can entertain all your Sickle Flash follow-ups, one of your few overheads, and most importantly, have that command grab be the last thing they're thinking about, because not a lot of people are going to see this coming. And this is where you're nice and safe even if you don't special cancel your moves. So yeah, Axel is one of those characters that's big brain and kind of sleeper right now. I mean, sleeper, like no one's really talking about this character. There's not a lot of players playing him, but he is actually very, very, very complete as a character. And the name of the game is you want them to jump. If they jump, oh my god, the world is your oyster. It's actually beautiful. He has so many options to just stop and knock people back full screen from the air and just make them super annoyed, which is gonna make them very impatient. And that's when you gotta ride in your hands, because Axel can squab, especially when he's in control. Look at his little face in that portrait. Oh my god, he's toxic. But yeah, that's Axel, guys. Super cool theme. He wants to force the jump by sitting in this space here so he can entertain all of his special moves and his command normals. Please play this character. He is super awesome. He has a reversal overdrive, by the way, that it has invincibility frames on it. And obviously time stop is great for combos and threatening the fact that, hey, if you let me touch you while this is active, I'm going to special cancel and you're going to lose all your health. So it's kind of defensive in that way as well. So yeah, that's Axel, guys. Try him out. He's actually super, super, super good. Just try to maintain this range. Do your follow-ups, get your damage when you've earned it. Alright, so next up we have Young Mei, the disaster of passion coming your way. So yeah, let's first talk about what makes her strong. First out the gate, her slashes are phenomenal. Both her regular slashes and her heavy slashes. Most of her moves are pretty disjointed. This is even the case in the air. So as far as buttons go, if you just want to out-button people, she can do that. But that's pretty much the end of her like surface level strength, right? Dolphin, as annoying as it is, isn't actually disjointing hitboxes and rest of her moves. She has to do, it doesn't look like it, but she has to take a risk when she does that. She also doesn't have a projectile, right? So what specifically is her win condition? Her win condition is to get on top of you and make you guess. So let's put Senso here to block, right? So she has two versions of both of her dolphins, both the horizontal and the vertical, right? If she does, actually, let me go ahead and turn on my controller here so you guys can actually see. There we go. So if she does the heavy version of her dolphin, she gets plus frames, and you'll see it doesn't look too different, right? In terms of animation, it's just different in terms of animation speed. And so if the opponent doesn't pick up on that, they may actually not have a turn where they think they have a turn, and that's where these big disjointed hitboxes come into play. So it's upon the Mei player to create enough pressure to allow the dolphin to make contact. That's basically what she's trying to do. She wants the dolphin to make contact, or she wants to make contact with the normal coming in hot like so, and make you guess immediately, hey, does she have a dolphin charge right now, right? Or is she going to come down and throw out one of these disjointed normals at you and then do the dolphin? What kind of dolphin was that? If you don't respond quickly, she is consciously aware of what she's doing, at least she should be, and then she's going to take advantage of the fact that you think it's not your turn. Once she's pretty much gotten you to be still, she can run in with command grab, right? If you didn't already know, it combos in the corner for a good chunk of damage, right? Just like that. And that's basically what she's trying to do. She just wants to keep varying her approach to you so you're not paying attention to her charge, right? For those who don't know, you charge by holding, you can charge both of her dolphins by holding down and back. And she can do this during all of her animations, similar to like Guile from Street Fighter, and she can just harass you. And once she starts to notice what you're doing on defense, she can start just taking advantage of you ultimately. She gets you in the corner, she can close that out, still get plus frames off vertical dolphin, and then you have to guess, is she going to press a button on the way down, right? And she has ridiculous payoff for counter hits. So she's basically fishing for a counter hit once she gets on top of you. So to reiterate, in neutral, she's like, you can't out-button me. Since you can't out-button me, this dolphin's coming. Which dolphin is it going to be? Am I going to take advantage of you, take my turn, get these plus frames going? Or am I going to try to slide you with a quick one real quick, catch your incoming button because you thought you got to play for a second, right? Make you think about, second guess about this next dolphin before you know it, you got grabbed, right? And all she needs is a few hits. This is a high damage game. She is going to annihilate your health bar, and we've seen this work at the beginning of this game's lifespan. If you didn't already know, Tempest underscore NYC displaying a great Mei, even putting out a counter Mei guide because they understand, even if players are aware of these surface level, the surface level counterplay, that doesn't change what is true about Mei. And what's true about Mei is this is disjointed, bro. You got to deal with that. This, I may not have, that too much full screen pressure, but if you let me do this to you on your wake up, or if you let me do this to you while I have bar, you have a problem. Do you want to press something? No, you don't. Oh, okay, I get you're still losing the same amount of health. It didn't matter, did it? It didn't matter, did it? And it's that simple. Mei is a very simple game plan. Establish yourself with your fantastic normals, get the dolphins going, watch how they respond on defense, and then just do the appropriate countermeasure. They want to press. Oh, they want to press. Oh, they should not press, right? And if they don't want to press, keep stealing turns. That's plus. That's plus. That's plus. And before you know it, you got meter. Now they have to make a choice. She's scary. A disaster of passion. That's May in a nutshell. Big buttons, big problems. If you like to just get in your opponent's head, if you're one of those players who doesn't mind playing a little bit slower so you can pay attention to what they're trying to beat you with, and she's your girl. Because once you know what they like to do, if they like to press, if they like to jump, they like to backdash, they like to DP, no matter what it is, she's got an answer for it. All right? You eliminate, you exterminate. That's May. Exterminate. All right, I'm done. So now we got one of my favorite characters, probably of all fighting game history, young Zato here. Fantastic character, by the way. Let's talk about first, what is he good at? So Zato here has his buddy Eddie, and if you didn't already know, Eddie here has a plethora of moves, right? He has the frog, he has spikes. Those are disjointed, by the way, meaning if they try to hit them, it doesn't matter. Eddie will not get hit in return. Also, that move there, it's called Pierce, little pokey pokes. And he has this move here. This is the God move. This move here is called Oppose. And what that does, when those snakes are out, or when the move's out, before it comes to the snakes, any button that the person may press, let's say Kai to press a button here, right? There you go. He's going to press a button now. You just eat it. Zato is 100% completely free to move and unfazed. Okay, let's see that one more time. Right? If they get caught in their recovery frames, you get a big payout with counter hit, and you can also grab if they just freeze up and don't know what to do. It's pretty hard, and that does heat multiple hits. It's basically the duration of this is a guard point. It's a moving guard point. It just eats hits for Zato, which means if they don't want to press anything, he gets access to his command grab. You know, he gets access to his normal grab, right? Then they have a problem. So Eddie's very, very, very strong. And that's not where it ends. You don't have to just do those moves while he's next to you. You can control him even while you're crouched using 1 and 3 or down, back, and down forward to kind of move him freely before his gauge runs out and puts in position to do pretty gross stuff. Now they have a hitbox behind them, right? Now they have this guy on top of them, right? And he can use some of his other moves here to just send Eddie on over. And now he's like, you have a problem. I need you to deal with this now. You don't want to deal with it? Ah, okay. That's happening now. And it doesn't stop there. Let's say Eddie runs out, right? Let's say we do a pose here and we like completely flop, right? You can use this move here to recharge and you're good to go. Eddie's right back in there and ready to go. So what is Zato bad at? So Zato is, his weaknesses is that he doesn't have any reversal option. And what I mean by that is if your opponent's on top of you when you're getting up, he can't do it will tell you here, you can see it yourself, neither one of his overdrives have invincibility. A lot of characters that don't have a lot of good defense, they at least have a reversal overdrive they can do to get the opponent off them when they're getting up from the ground. Zato does not have said luxury. He does not have a DP. You know, DPs typically have strike and vulnerability like Kai's Vapor Thrust, Soul's Volcanic Viper. You do not get any of that with Zato. The only thing you get in this game, if you weren't already aware, you do have grab protection, about 6-7 frames, if I did my math right, of grab protection, meaning you have 6 frames to make a choice. Do you want to try and jump the grab that the command grab or grab that they may have coming towards you, or do you want to try and jab out of the pressure, or are you going to block that meaty button from them? Where Zato really kind of struggles is on defense, but that's the thing about him. He gets control 2 different characters, and it's your job to just not let the other person play. Because first of all, again, let's throw out Eddie real quick. See how fast? Look at the bar go up. That bar is what, maybe 3 seconds of game time. You need to, it comes back pretty quickly, and if you've been playing correctly and you didn't just flat out lose at round start, you can even get Eddie back. You can use your bar. Eddie's back now. That's a complete refill. Another thing you can do is once you see him complete the special move, you see how he goes into like a neutral stance. You can actually throw out Eddie, and then before the move finishes, or before Eddie gets hit or runs out of meter, you can just return him, and look at that refill rate. Oh my god, it's huge. So if you just properly manage Eddie, Zato can just completely dominate the screen without actually having to commit his body to the equation. But that's not it. That's the first layer of playing Zato here, is using using Zato and Eddie as one. The next thing you're going to start doing is when you start coupling your offense with Eddie like so. So people will normally try to stop you by like, oh, you know, I'm just gonna hit Eddie, and then if they hit Eddie, Eddie will go away. Let me just show you here, right? They hit Eddie, Eddie goes away. We still have to wait that time for Eddie to come back. They'll try to beat him, right? That's how you beat Zato. But then you're like, no, I'm not letting you press nothing, right? Then you play as one. That is where Zato shines. That's when the game's over. When you've caught them and you've discouraged them from the one piece of counterplay that shuts Zato down, which is I gotta press something. If I don't press something, Eddie gets to go wild. Zato gets to keep refilling Eddie. It will never end, right? Your goal as Zato is to basically be prepared for the opponent's options and be aware of what they can do to get rid of Eddie. Because once they do that, Zato cannot fend for himself at all. No DP, no overdrive. His buttons are slow. His payout for his jab is so abysmal. He can't even go forward. He can't even go punch into forward punch. He can't do it, right? So he gets no payout. Even if he jabs the person off of them, that's his payout, right? So when you play Zato, you want to maintain control. You want to properly manage Eddie. You need to defend Eddie because Eddie is you. You and Eddie are one. Zato, Zeddy, you call them whatever you want. They are one. If you don't play them that way, you will lose. But if you do that, if you manage to pull off this beautiful dance of death, you are one of the strongest characters in the game. And this is not easy to do. But if you do it, you will feel like a supreme mastermind. And that's why he's my favorite character. I've never played a character that required so much of me and allowed me so much power and freedom at the same time. And expression. Holy moly, this character is expression, the character. Woo! But yeah, that's Zato 1. If you want to put the time in, this guy's been out in all the Guilty Gears, so there are players out there that will show you the way. From the American scene, I would suggest watching No Kami. Clean and efficient, gets the job done. I think in Japan, they're kind of trying to, I know Dogura played in the exhibition last weekend, but I don't know if he's really a Zato player. Historically. So yeah, watch No Kami. You can come by my stream even. I know a little bit of the Zato stuff. Some of the gods have come by and showed me some stuff. But yeah, if you want a big brain, high octane, this is your boy, Zato. Alright, so next up we got my girl, Giovanna. If you guys are watching the stream, you should know all about this character and what she's trying to do. She was basically the first character I tried to climb with in ranked, but I had to make some changes. Switch to Leah. Anyway, what is Gio trying to do? First off, her dash is amazing. Covers a ridiculous amount of range. You couple it with FD breaking, and you have some of the best micro spacing and neutral in the game, right? It gets better though. She can also use it to extend the range of her normals. And there's really not much to talk about in terms of her punches or kicks in terms of normals. What we really need to talk about is her slash, which is multi-hitting, her crouch slash, which is also multi-hitting. Slash is the name of the game. It's going to allow you to stabilize and get a visual on what's actually happening in the game. So Giovanna is pretty special because coupled with her dash macro and her movement, she can actually just kind of control the pace because she can always threaten her approach from this far away. It's actually insane. It's actually insane. If you're playing Gio, you gotta use your movement because her buttons by themselves, they're not very good, right? So let's talk about her special move. So she has this move here that creates plus frames. Basically, every time you do this, you just want to go straight into your low. They can't really do anything. Same thing with the overhead kicks. They're +4, even more plus. And basically, if you just stick to your kicks, you get to at least, go for a dust mix-up maybe. Oh, I trolled, but you get the idea. This move here and this move here, they have tons of startup, but they're really good if you get them to block them. They can be counterplayed, for example, right? If they press forward punch, right? Remember, that's invincible from the waist up, right? That's invincible from the waist up. So even if you do drill from this far away, you can forward punch that too. So which really begs the question, how do we open up our kid if they can always respond this way? Either they can just do it at the end of our block strings, not even on reaction, or they can react to it, right? There's so much startup time. What are we going to do? So that's where another one of our moves comes up. Sona Sente here. I praise this move on stream for a good reason. It lowers her hurt box so low that people can't actually do their counterplay to those special moves anymore. So let me demonstrate. As you saw there, I did close slash. Let's do far slash. Let me slide in with it like I'm actually playing Gio. Right? So we have Millia here to set to try and do forward punch. Did not matter. We're going to blow that up regardless because this move here, it's not a DP. It's not fully strike invincible, but it makes our hurt box so low to the ground we can counter a lot of different counterplay to the rest of our kit. And once you entertain Sol Nascente either in neutral or as part of your option set, once you finally get your offense going, they become afraid to press buttons. And once they're afraid to press buttons, they take that forward punch off the table, even their jabs, even their crouch jabs off the table. And now you get access, you can just flip all you want. And now you're playing a basic Geo. The last thing you need to remember about this character is that not only is that part of your game plan, Sol Nascente, I mean, really putting the whole kit together, she has a lot of different ways to kind of fish for counter hits. This is very important on her, right? Remember all these different multi-hitting moves? I mean, all these different multi-hitting slashes, right? This is conditioning our opponent to wait a certain amount of time before they press something, right? So they're going to associate this amount of block stun time with after, you know, once they're like, oh, once this much block stun has occurred, I'm allowed to press something, right? That's the thing. Giovanna's pressure just lasts so long because of these multi-hitting moves. They think it's their turn. They think you're out of options, right? They've had to block 3 moves, right? Usually it's a normal, and a special move. You're like, bro, I'm not done yet. Counter. You forgot about my heavy slash, right? So staggering is very, very important on this character, both with her slash and her crouch slash, right? Oh, I messed up. You get the idea, right? So not only are you basically having your opponent guess if you're going to end your combos, I mean your block strings, or you end your block strings or neutral with this move, right? They have to wonder when you're actually going to stop your turn. Once they're frozen, right, and they don't know what to press, you can just start going crouch slash into crouch slash. Why not, right? They're not going to press anything. That's when you get access to things like this. You can start throw looping them. I mean, they could panic and do that, but you get the idea. That's Giovanna. That really is Giovanna. She wants to micro space like so. She wants to get in, make them respect her special moves, right? Using Sol Nascente. Once respect has been established, she's gonna now she gets to go wild. That's on the table. That's on the table. And she can just keep resetting her turn. And when the opponent finally thinks they have a read on your rhythm, you're like, oh, I can press buttons now, right? That's when these other moves come into play, right? Trying to time this right. There we go. That's when things like that come into play. This move here is obviously safe on block. This is like the combo move, safe exit. It's not your turn anymore move, right? I would say just do Sol Nascente sometimes, depending on the spacing. You could get punished. But yeah, that's Giovanna. She wants to basically establish that she's allowed to do these special moves that are plus on block, because if you don't respect it, you're going to get blown up by that move there. They're kind of like pseudo DP. Okay, that's Giovanna. That's everybody. I hope I opened your eyes to the fact that all these characters do have a very, very solid game plan, and no one is trying to do anything like anyone else. I hope that was very, very evident. All these characters are so unique. They're all great. They all do good things, and some of them just need more time to develop than others because their game plan is just that deep. It's that complex, and it makes sense too, and I'm really happy that it's in the game. So they're all great. This is the time to branch out. We've had the game for like almost a month now. I hope this helped. I have a ton of resources in the description. You guys are going to see a link to a website that's going to give you a database of like a bunch of different top players. Go watch those. Any names I mentioned, go look them up on YouTube. They have tons of content either on Twitter or YouTube that you can watch if you need ideas. Some of them may even stream. You can obviously come by my stream. I can help you out. Just having like, you know, like a one-on-one with you would be really good for both of us. I could get to see what players are thinking, and I can show you what I've learned because I've been just studying the mess out of this game. But yeah, that is it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out those resources down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Get out there and play some Guilty Gear.